You might be slowly damaging your pancreas just by reheating your food. Sounds hard to believe, right? But it's true. Every day, millions of people reheat leftovers without thinking twice. It feels smart. It saves time, money, and effort. But what if I told you that certain foods, when reheated, can release harmful compounds that quietly stress and inflame your pancreas? And here's the scary part. Your pancreas doesn't scream for help. It doesn't hurt. It just struggles in silence until one day, something goes very wrong. And by then, it might be too late. Pancreatic cancer is one of the most dangerous, fast-moving cancers out there. And some of our most common kitchen habits are making things worse without us even knowing it. In today's video, we'll break down 4 everyday foods that should never be reheated, and we'll explain why, based on real science and expert warnings. No scare tactics, just the facts, and what you can do differently starting today. Because protecting your pancreas doesn't take a special diet. It just takes awareness and a few smart changes in your routine. Stick around because the first food on our list, you've probably reheated it this week. Part 1. Reheated fried foods and vegetable oils, a hidden threat to your pancreas. Leftover French fries, chicken tenders, onion rings, we toss them in the microwave or skillet the next day without a second thought. But here's the problem. Most fried foods are cooked in vegetable oils like canola, corn, or soybean oil. These oils are highly unstable at high temperatures. And when they're reheated, they break down even more, forming toxic compounds called aldehydes. What are aldehydes? Aldehydes are a type of compound formed during the oxidation of oils. These aren't just bad for your gut, they're harmful at the cellular level. Studies have shown that some aldehydes are carcinogenic, meaning they can actually promote cancer development by damaging DNA and triggering abnormal cell growth. In short, when you reheat fried food, you're not just warming it up. You may be creating dangerous chemicals that never existed in the original dish. Why your pancreas pays the price. The pancreas is especially vulnerable to repeated exposure to toxic compounds. It plays a central role in digestion and blood sugar regulation, and it's already sensitive to inflammation. When aldehydes enter the digestive tract, the pancreas is forced to respond often by increasing enzyme output to compensate for poor quality fats and proteins. This repeated overwork can lead to chronic stress, enzyme imbalance, and increased risk of long-term damage. Over time, that stress can lead to chronic inflammation, impaired insulin production, higher risk of pancreatic damage, and in the worst cases, pancreatic cancer. What to avoid? Reheating fried food, especially in the microwave. Reusing cooking oil. Buying pre-fried frozen food and reheating it again. Cooking in unstable oils like soybean or corn oil. What to do instead? Eat fried food. Fresh and hot, never reheat it. Use heat-stable oils like avocado or extra virgin olive oil. Bake your food for a crispy texture without frying. Cook only what you plan to eat. These small shifts in your kitchen habits can make a big difference over time. Your pancreas may be silent, but it remembers everything you put it through. Part 2. Reheated processed meats. A chemical time bomb. Processed meats like bacon, sausages, ham, and deli slices contain preservatives such as nitrates and nitrites. These additives help preserve the meat and enhance flavor, but they come at a cost. What happens when you reheat processed meats? When nitrites are exposed to high heat, especially during reheating, they can turn into nitrosamines, a class of chemical compounds that have been clearly linked to several types of cancer. Nitrosamines are not destroyed by heat or digestion. Once formed, they are absorbed into your system and can irritate internal tissues, particularly the pancreas, which is sensitive to both chemical stress and fat metabolism. Worse, these compounds can accumulate with regular exposure, meaning that if you're someone who eats reheated sausage or bacon daily, you're putting your digestive system under a steady stream of chemical assault. How this affects your pancreas. The pancreas has to process not only fats and proteins, but also detoxify compounds that pass through your digestive tract. Reheating processed meats loads your body with extra work, from poor quality fats to carcinogenic nitrosamines, forcing the pancreas to work beyond its limit. Over time, this leads to increased inflammation, cellular damage, enzyme fatigue, higher risk of pancreatic and colorectal cancers. And because the pancreas plays a central role in managing insulin and digestion, damage here doesn't just stop at cancer. It can trigger blood sugar issues, fatigue, and metabolic disorders. What to avoid? Microwaving bacon or sausage. Reheating meatloaf with cured meats. Reusing processed meats in next-day meals. Choose instead fresh, lean meats, like chicken, turkey, or grass-fed beef. Eggs, beans, tofu, or lentils for protein. If using processed meats, eat them immediately after cooking, never reheat. Processed meats are already on the World Health Organization's list of known cancer-causing foods. Reheating them adds even more risk. It's simply not worth it. Reheated rice looks safe, acts dangerous. Rice is a staple food in many homes. But when stored or reheated improperly, it becomes one of the most overlooked sources of foodborne toxins. The real danger, Bacillus cereus. This bacterium forms spores that survive the initial cooking process. When rice is left out too long, especially at room temperature, these spores multiply. The heat from reheating might kill the bacteria, but it won't destroy the toxins they've already released. These toxins can cause food poisoning, digestive distress, pancreatic stress due to increased detox demand. Symptoms may seem mild at first: nausea, cramping, bloating. But when your pancreas is repeatedly tasked with handling these toxins, the consequences compound. How it affects the pancreas. Your pancreas doesn't just digest food, it also helps detoxify what passes through your gut. When bacterial toxins show up frequently in your meals, your pancreas becomes a frontline responder. Over time, this low-grade exposure wears it down, leading to inflammation, inefficiency, and elevated disease risk. This doesn't mean rice is the enemy, but improper storage and repeated reheating are common mistakes. Leaving rice out longer than 1 hour. Reheating rice more than once. Eating rice that's more than 2-3 days old. Safer practices. Store rice in airtight containers within an hour of cooking. Reheat only once, thoroughly. Cook smaller portions so leftovers aren't needed. If unsure, toss it. Rice is cheap. Your health isn't. What looks like a harmless bowl of rice could be hiding a microbial threat your pancreas has to handle. Part 4. Reheated chicken. A digestive double whammy. Chicken is one of the healthiest proteins out there when it's fresh. But reheating it can change that story fast. The science of protein breakdown. When chicken is reheated, especially in a microwave or at high temperatures, the proteins begin to denature or unravel. This makes them harder to digest. Your pancreas, responsible for producing enzymes to break down proteins, now has to work extra hard. Reheating also tends to involve sauces or gravies, many of which contain fats and oils that have already been cooked once. Heating them again can generate harmful compounds like aldehydes, which stress the pancreas even further. The double threat. Altered proteins, difficult digestion. Reheated fats equals chemical stress. Together, they create the perfect storm for pancreatic fatigue. Repeated consumption of improperly reheated chicken may result in abdominal discomfort, enzyme imbalance, sluggish digestion, increased risk of pancreatic inflammation or dysfunction. What to avoid? Microwaving cooked chicken. Reheating meals with sauces or gravies. Eating chicken stored more than 3 days. What to do instead? Cook small portions fresh when possible. Reheat gently on the stovetop if necessary. Skip sauces or make fresh ones each time. Conclusion: protect your pancreas. One meal at a time. Let's recap the 4 foods that should never be reheated. Fried foods and vegetable oils. Processed meats. Leftover rice. Chicken with sauces or gravies. Your pancreas won't send you pain signals like a headache or sore muscle. It just keeps working silently, tirelessly until one day it can't. And when that day comes, the consequences can be life-altering. Pancreatic inflammation, blood sugar spikes, even cancer. But here's the hopeful truth. You don't need expensive treatments or a fancy detox to protect this vital organ. You just need awareness, a few smarter choices in your kitchen, and the willingness to say no to habits that no longer serve your health. So next time you open the fridge and consider microwaving yesterday's fried chicken or leftover sausage, think again. Think about the long game. Think about the gift of energy, digestion, and life your pancreas gives you every day. Give something back. Take action. Like this video if you learned something new. Comment, which of these foods surprised you most? Also, subscribe for weekly health tips you can trust. Share this with someone you care about. It might just protect their health too. Your pancreas is working for you. It's time you worked for it too.